good, everyone? It's your boy Nati with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DMV Sports Zone. And today, you know who I have on the channel. I have Darren Haynes, Darren M. Haynes from WSA 9, and he's a 9-time Emmy-winning sports director and anchor at WSA 9, based right here in Washington, D.C. And Darren, before getting into any sports topics or anything, I was wondering if you could first introduce yourself to the great people out there who might not already know who you are, which is highly unlikely at this point, but still, and your path to WSA 9.
Well, like you said, I'm a sports anchor, been in the business for like 16 years. I mean, covered and interviewed every single professional athlete, big athlete that you can think of, from LeBron James, Michael Jordan, to Tiger Woods. I've been there, done that. Every single major championship, from NBA finals. Shoot, I've been in the NASCAR, been in their championship before. I've been all around, World Series. I mean, you name it, the Super Bowl. I've been there, done that. So I'm happy to be on this show. Hopefully some of the stuff that I can talk about today will inspire some people, motivate some people, or just give them a little look of what my life is like.
I first came across you through your work on SportsCenter a couple of years ago, and I was wondering specifically, what was it like getting to work at the Worldwide Leader and the flagship program more specifically, and getting to anchor the show during the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, and so many more special moments in the world of sports.
Yeah, that's funny. I forgot to mention that, because when you work at ESPN, and it's almost like it's a Hall of Fame jacket. It's like it will be on your bio until the day that you die, and beyond. But yeah, working at ESPN, anchoring SportsCenter, I did a little bit of a show called NBA Tonight as well. It's different college football shows I used to do. I did Top Plays of the Month. That was the dream job. That if you think about what dream you want to accomplish in your life and that becomes a reality, it is the real deal. It was life-changing, literally life-changing, from when I woke up the next morning. And I knew I had the job, but when it was released to the world, I mean, I looked up and bam, my Twitter was verified. I was like, I didn't even make a request. But to also work alongside some of the people like Scott Van Pelt, who's now actually here doing his show from DC, who has helped me in my career. Stuart Scott, a legend who passed away. I'll never forget. Just two quick things of just how that station just blows my mind. He actually stayed up to watch my show, and I'm like, Stuart Scott's like Michael Jordan, and I'm like the dude who just came out of college, who maybe could have a promising career, and he's watching my shows and giving me great feedback, saying, "Hey, I like what you're doing." That meant a lot to me. Or the time where he and Butchergross came in to anchor, and he said, "Yo, young player, get out this seat. Let me show you how the real dogs do it." And I was like, "Money, like you're the man." But it's that dream job, and I hope everybody can get a taste of that experience, because it is truly one of the greatest moments in my life. And unfortunately, I didn't stop working at ESPN because I sucked. They went through a whole bunch of layoffs back in 2017. It was like 150 of us, I believe. On-air people, not behind the scenes, like on television. And that's when I got the job. Matter of fact, I was in this room when they announced that I got the job here, to be the sports director to run the show down here in DC. And we won every single sports anchor Emmy, every AP award. We're 4P. We have
4P.
So it's going well down here.
Yeah, and it's cool also just seeing like the posts on your Twitter feed and your LinkedIn about all the accomplishments you and the rest of the team are accomplishing out there at WSA 9. And I do want to get into something that's a moment in time where I especially appreciate your commentary. You talked about legends passing, and I want to talk about you and your commentary surrounding Kobe Bryant's tragic passing. And basically, could you talk a little bit more about what Kobe has meant to you over the years and how trying of a moment that was, that January 26th?
So from the very beginning, I grew up a New York Knicks fan. So at the beginning of time, I could care less about Kobe. I wanted my Knicks to win something. Now in my broadcast career, I had to get that part out.
Yeah.
I worked in San Antonio and when the Spurs were really good. So I had a lot of run-ins with Kobe, if it was during the regular season or in the playoffs. So I always respected his game, I just had the great opportunity at ESPN to actually anchored the coverage right before his final NBA game. And that was one of those moments where it was actually just me, because Nicole Briscoe, who's still at ESPN, she was an anchor, but I had to ad-lib, gosh, maybe about 30 minutes straight of just Kobe warming up and some of the stars and former players that were coming in to watch him play. And there was this amazing story that I learned about Kobe being a part of his farewell tour. And it resonated with me still to this day, is that after his first year, Michael Jackson gave him a call. And he said, come to my ranch, whatever like that, we can talk, whatever. And they went to the ranch, and I think Kobe almost ran out of gas. And Michael was like, don't worry, you can fill your gas tank up in my gas station I have at my ranch, which is pretty sweet that you have your own gas station.
Yeah.
But Michael Jackson was telling Kobe that he looked up to James Brown when he wanted to be a star, and he picked his brain of all the good things you learn, all the bad things, what should I avoid, what can I do in this business to be successful? And he was like, Kobe, who is that person to you that you can look up to, that you can pick their brain and you can learn all these things from? And that was Michael Jordan. And that I believe it was in November, and I could be wrong, might have been in December. That very next year after his rookie year, he went up to Michael Jordan and started picking his brain. And that's the reason why, like, still to this day, Michael Jordan would say, like, you know, the only person that may have a tough time beating is Kobe Bryant, because he stole all his moves. And so when you look at like mentorship or people you look up to, like that resonates with me still to this day. And so to see Kobe Bryant pass away, knowing, like, I love the journey of players. That's one thing I love about my career, on how someone gets from point A to point B, and you're going to have those downfalls. I don't care who you are. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone makes a mistake. Everyone makes a poor decision. And to see where all those decisions that he made to where he is now, to where he was that father figure, that's the sad part that gets to me when he passed away. Like, that was the good part of Kobe Bryant that the world needed to see, that was cut short, because we got the basketball version. We got all of Black Mamba. But yeah, that part hit me a little bit differently because I have a daughter, and that took a few weeks, maybe a month, for me to realize, like, man, I can't believe this actually really happened to Kobe. And I think in that commentary which you're mentioning, I did a few of them, but definitely I remember mentioning that it's to miss out on seeing Kobe be a dad. We will be shortchanged on that. We won't ever see that. That's tough, man. We'll never see the non-basketball version of Kobe Bryant, which it looked like he was making such a great transition in his career, unlike maybe some other players where they may end up bankrupt. You know, who knows what happened to some professional athletes. Kobe looked like that transition was like perfect.
And now with the biggest team still in the DMV market, the Whaaaaat football team, I did want to ask you a couple of questions about the team. And first question I want to ask you is, of course, we all heard about the trademark trouble that has surrounded the Whaaaaat football name over recent weeks. And I just want to get your thoughts on what you believe the name will actually be by the start of the 2022 season, which I know is a very common question out there, but I want to ask you.
What's so amazing about this, I was just with the team president, Jason Wright. I was just talking to him, I don't know, 2 hours ago.
Was that the golf charity event that I think?
Yeah, the golf charity event. The charity event that they had. And so I was just talking to him about that name. And, you know, of course the team, they can't release anything. He probably knows, but you can't like release it. And my thing will be, is the feel that I'm getting is that it's going to be the Washington football team when the season starts. And the reason why I firmly believe that's going to be the case is right now that name is actually growing on people. I think that they'll probably keep that name because it's starting to grow on people. No matter if they keep the name or if they find a new name, everybody's not going to be happy. What makes people happy is winning, and they change the name and they're winning. So I think that we'll still have the Washington football team this particular season. And there's multiple reasons why. Like, they can have 8 people in a room and say, all right, guys, it's going to be this name, but don't tell anybody. but you still got to like make banners. You still got to make T-shirts. You still got to make jerseys. So you're trying to tell me all the workers that are in the certain shops that are making these jerseys, they're keeping their mouths shut as well? Or are they going to just like mass produce them the day that they announce it? Someone's going to leak out some information. So I don't even think they're at that stage yet to where we'll see the team be the Washington football team this season.
Yeah, and I mean, even looking beyond this season, it's going to be tough, right? Going through another rebranding process, because they already went through one with the Washington football team. And if they were to change their name to the Warriors or the Red Wolves or any of the name candidates out there, I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, Dan Snyder does have deep pockets, but it's still a lot of money there. What about the idea that, I know this was thrown around on Twitter, but maybe the Washington football team, by the time the 2022 season rolls around, becoming the Warriors and just using that same W logo that they've been using for the last season and sort of just rolling with that for however many seasons they go with the Warriors name?
I mean, listen, there's been a lot of names that were put out there. I mean, you mentioned Warriors, it'd be Red Wolves. I mean, the Hogs. There's a lot of names that are being thrown out there. I think what it really comes down to is who owns the rights to the name. Yeah. You know, do the fans like the name? Because I know they did this whole little like everyone they were collecting information from the fans on what they feel like the name should be. Warriors may be on the top of that list. However, if they're like, all right, we want it to be Warriors, and then they go to the trademark people, nah, John Doe already owns the rights to that, man. And either John Doe, if he doesn't want to give it up, what do you do? Or if he does want to give it up, he's gonna want some bread. So there's different challenges with that logistical stuff than just naming a team like you name a baby. It's a lot more difficult.
And now with the on the field matters at hand with the Washington football team, I want to first ask you about the quarterback situation, of course. That is always an interesting situation here in DC. I want to ask you if you believe that Ryan Fitzpatrick is firmly entrenched as QB1 here in DC come week 1, and that all this talk about a quarterback competition is a little overstated during training camp, or do you think Ron Rivera is very serious about having this competition in training camp and Heineke potentially being that quarterback 1, or even Kyle Allen maybe, right? The guy who a lot of people forget about come week 1.
So one is you're paying Ryan Fitzpatrick the most money. And if you're going to buy anything, if you went out and you bought a Lamborghini and then you bought a Honda Accord, which car are you going to drive?
Lamborghini.
Which one? Yeah, you're going to drive the Lamborghini first. So you got to have that same mindset. I do feel like Ron Rivera will look at the quarterback situation just a little bit differently and maybe give some of the quarterbacks more of an opportunity than he did last year with Dwayne Haskins, because he admits that he gave Dwayne Haskins that starting position when he should have had a quarterback competition at first. So when he's like, they're going to have a quarterback competition, I firmly believe that they're going to compete at some particular way. But in the back of his mind, you're paying Ryan Fitzpatrick that type of money. He's that veteran quarterback that he's sort of like that number 1 in pencil unless something else happens. But let's see what the other quarterbacks can do as well so they can have that opportunity to earn that number 1 spot if they can. That's why I feel like there will be a quarterback competition.
The next question I'm about to ask you is about some another piece that you did, but this time it was for WUSA 9. It wasn't that far long ago. It was in 2018, but it was with someone who has been in the news over the last week or so, and that has been
Derrius Guice.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, well, first and foremost, again, your interview with him that I saw during training camp a couple years back was awesome. And definitely, you know, when all this Derrius Guice stuff went down last fall and how it's pretty much been going down over the last year or so, I've definitely thought about that interview. And I want to first ask you what it's been like seeing Guice's serious legal troubles over the last year, and with the news last week that several of his domestic charges have been dropped. Do you believe that he'll get another chance in the NFL?
So what's interesting about this is Guice and I been cool. We're still cool now. He just has to handle the legal stuff, whatever like that. There's some stuff I can tell you. There's some stuff I can't. It's like if you tell me a secret, I can't go and tell all other people. So full respect to Derrius Guice. I will say, which I've made public before, is was I disappointed that he was even in that situation where something happened, where he had to get arrested, where he had to go to court, despite you know, even though the charges were dropped, and you know, he still had to pay a settlement. Just all that type of stuff. That's disappointing. Where, you know, you want every player to make great decisions, and somewhere along that line, someone made a poor decision. And so I was definitely disappointed in Derrius because of that, because he has an amazing talent. Like, he was supposed to be the man who was going to take over Adrian Peterson last year. This was before Antonio Gibson. Like, we would have never known what Antonio Gibson would have been if this never happened. You know what I'm saying? Antonio Gibson might have been that third string running back, and we're just like, well, maybe that guy can get in eventually. Things happen for a reason. I will say this, though. Remember, I was mentioning about Kobe Bryant in regards to people make bad decisions and stuff like that. We all know what Kobe Bryant went through in regards to the rape deal. Mm-hmm. So the thing with Derrius Guice is what I hope, and the reason why I have my own programs that I do, and if it's my prison ministry that I do, is that people make mistakes. People make bad decisions. And how are you going to bounce back? Because the bounce back is supposed to be better. You're supposed to be better off than where you were before, because you learn your lesson. You appreciate life more. You don't take things for granted. So I can't tell you that Derrius Guice is like, hey, I want to play in the NFL. I think we kind of already know that he wants to play in the NFL. I think he even just posted a picture today on his story, which shows him still like ripped and diesel. So he's training. He's not getting fat. So I'm sure he's gonna want some type of opportunity to play somewhere, because he's still young.
And of course, the Washington football team isn't the only team in the DMV, although it does attract a lot of the headlines. I want to ask you about the Washington Wizards. And first and foremost, obviously, we all heard about the Wizards not extending Scott Brooks' contract. So I want to ask you about the head coaching search, and I want to specifically ask you, given recent reports of him being the leading candidate for the Wizards head coaching job, do you believe that Sam Cassell could finally build this team into a consistent winner, or do you think there are other candidates out there who are better served for the head coaching spot here in DC?
Well, my number one choice, I really wanted Chauncey Billups, but he's in Portland. This is a guy that, like, I covered him when he was with the Pistons when they won in 2004, and I was saying, like, it was my first day in Detroit and back then, and they won the championship, and, you know, they're shooting guns in the air. I was like, oh shoot, okay, this is Detroit. And then I had the opportunity to, he wanted to become an analyst, and so some of his days when he was at ESPN, we'll do some SportsCenter segments together. So that I already had that relationship. I'm thinking, you know, I'm a journalist. You're like, you want to build these connections with people. I'm like, man, if Chauncey gets the head coaching job, hey man, let's do that interview tomorrow. Easy, right? But Sam Cassell would be another great coach, and I guess I'll be like my second choice. I mean, this is a guy who had a great career. Hated him when he was at Florida State because he knocked UConn out of the NCAA tournament. We're not going to talk about that. Years ago. But also he had success, you know, in Houston. I mean, he's won an NBA title. So he'll be one of those guys where he already has the respect from the players because he's a decent player. And he's not like 80 something years old, where he can be one of those player coaches. He can be a player coach where the players can relate to him and they can rally behind him.
And do you believe there is any legitimacy to the talk that Russell Westbrook could be traded yet again this summer to a team like the Lakers, the Trailblazers? I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm actually not for it, but there has been some, you know, talk percolating on the web about this issue.
Man, listen, I have obviously some of my friends, a lot of my frat brothers, actually, brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. But literally, this is a text message that I'm reading to you right now. All right, bro, is Bradley leaving or is he taking the money? Like, today's his birthday, and he made the Olympic. I'm getting all this, like, is he leaving? Listen, like, and then he texted me. I was like, he's under contract, and he's like, again, contracts don't matter these days. I don't think Bradley Beal's going to leave. I don't feel that being I don't think the Wizards will trade him anywhere. I think Bradley Beal is still like the cornerstone of their team and who they're going to try to build the team around. So I don't think so. But listen, if someone came to me and they're like, hey, we'll give you this and this and this and this, you gotta listen. You gotta listen and see if it'll make the franchise better. Because let's just be real, the Washington Wizards have not been that successful in a very long time. In a very long time. We can talk all we want about, hey, we made the conference semifinals. That was also a very long time ago. John Wall's not even on the team. Shoot, I think Bradley Beal may be the only dude from that team that's still on the team. So yeah, you gotta listen. So it could happen. Why? Sometimes I always believe where there's smoke, there's fire. So a lot of stuff could be like fake. Maybe social media is making it up themselves. But there could be some stuff actually happening. There could be some particular talks, but maybe nothing happens out of it. I don't think so. But then again, I'm not Cleo. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you what the future is. Even though Cleo didn't know the future. I don't know if you remember Cleo.
Okay, but what about his backcourt mate and Russell Westbrook? Do you think there's any chance that he will get traded? I mean, it's just something again that's been percolating on the internet.
But Russell Westbrook is making a lot of that money. And you're gonna have to take that contract up. Do you want to pay that guy that kind of money? Because get what I'm saying? Like, you can get a guy like Russell Westbrook on your team, but if he's traded, you need to pick up on that contract. Of course, we can maybe add some other like draft picks in the future to try to compensate that. But Beal and Westbrook are both getting paid, and they're gonna want to get paid by somebody. So whatever team they're on is gonna have to ante up.
Makes sense. And the other team, the DMV, that's actually still playing right now, it is summer, so it is baseball season. I want to ask you about the Washington Nationals and how impressive has this recent run been for the Nats, winning 11 out of their last 14 games. Do you believe this season could really be a repeat of 2019 with the way things have gone over the last couple of weeks?
Brother, what happened in 2019 never happened in 150 plus years of Major League Baseball. Listen, I mean, anything can happen, but do I feel like this team can turn things around and make the playoffs? Most definitely. I mean, they already have. If they continue to keep winning, next thing you know, they're going to catch up and possibly lead their division. It all depends. Right now,
the Mets, I believe, right? This week as well.
Listen, just tonight they got to take on the Mets. Like they're about to play some quality teams that are all in that could make the playoff circle. So they're going to really put their winning ways to the test. This is not the Marlins where they went 2-2 on. The Marlins are not that good. So we'll see. They can turn around. But that 2019 year, and remember I was mentioning, I've covered a lot of like championships, a lot of teams that won the national title or NBA title, whatever, Super Bowl. That was by far the greatest experience I ever had covering a championship team. And the reason why is because they sucked. They sucked really bad. And then they turned it around and won the whole dang on thing. Like that's an amazing story. So amazing that I don't feel like they can duplicate that because it hasn't been done. It was only done, like I mentioned, like only one time in Major League Baseball, where a team was below like 500 at a certain point and then turned it around and won the World Series. Don't get me wrong. I hope we have this conversation in the fall and we're like, man, can't you believe it actually happened again? But no.
Chances of that happening are slim.
I think they have a chance to make the playoffs if they keep winning. But like the World Series, the way they did that, they got to get hot and they got to get their pitching together, no injuries or anything like that.
Yeah. And they got to get consistent hitting as well in that lineup, which has sort of been a problem over the course of the last couple months and stuff. So totally get that. The last question I want to ask you is on the Olympics, of course, that are set to start in late July. I want to ask you just a general question. Who are some DMV athletes we should look out for by the time the Olympics get going in late July? And how excited are you for the tournament, right? Because it was supposed to happen last year, but obviously COVID-19 happened.
I mean, I'm excited about the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics, if you think about it, is a sporting event where like people who don't care about sports actually watch. And there's also sporting events where outside of the Olympics, we can care less about. Like you'll find me being like, the archery tournament. Okay. Like, did I care about the archery in January? No. But we there's all these sports like gymnastics, swimming that we never normally watch, which we just get into during the Olympics. So I'm looking forward to that. If you want me to name a DMV person who I'm looking forward to watching, trust me, there are a whole bunch of great athletes that made it. And I got to go to like the top, or one of the top athletes, Katie Ledecky, man. And the reason why, listen, Katie Ledecky is destroying the competition. Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw her on, I think it was maybe the 5,000 meter or something like that. Bro, she was chilling, waiting for like, I did a ticker thing. I think it was like 18 seconds before second place came up.
Insane.
You get what I'm saying? So remember how people used to get so excited about Michael Phelps, like how many gold medals he gonna win? Like, that's Katie Ledecky for us in the DMV. Like, how many gold medals is Katie Ledecky gonna win now? Because we know she's gonna win some gold medals, unless they dry the pool up and she can't swim.
I mean, Katie Ledecky has been a superstar over the last couple of years, and it's crazy because Michael Phelps, I mean, he's not from that far out from the DMV, right? I think he's from Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel
something like that,
might be something in the water.
You never know. Not the water out in Baltimore.
Yeah,
not that harbor water. don't fall in that. You just start to melt as soon as you fall in that water.
But yeah, that's it in terms of my questions. Darren, thank you so much for joining this interview. It's been a long time coming. Glad I got to ask you some questions. Glad I got to ask you some questions about your experiences in the past and some highlights of your career that I've been able to see from my television screen. So it was great to actually ask you here over Zoom. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the DMV Sports Zone channel, where we try to post fire content on here as much as possible. Also, go follow our Twitter and Instagram page, all lowercase DMV Sports Zone. Try to post great content on there as much as possible as well. With that being said, Mr. Darren Haynes, is there any last message you want to give to the fans out there about anything you got going on, or just, I don't know, an uplifting message before we wrap up?
I'll give you 3 quick things. I'll give you what's going on. What's going on is I can't wait until training camp starts because it's in person. I'm looking forward to that. That's where my best talent comes out, is when I can interview people in person. None of that Zoom stuff anymore. Yeah. The second thing will be is make sure you follow me on all platforms on social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Shoot, if you're old school and you have MySpace and Black Planet, which I don't have, but it will be at Darren M. Haynes, at Darren M. Haynes, DARREN, M as in Matthew, HAYNES. And then the third thing, the uplifting part, is I tell all my young journalists and just people I mentor this: hang around people who make you better. I mentioned the Kobe Bryant thing. He decided to hang around with Michael Jordan. If your friend doesn't encourage you to do great things, if they don't encourage you to get good grades, or they check you when you're doing something wrong, like, bro or sis, you shouldn't do that, then they're not your real friends. And if they don't do those things, you may want to reevaluate who you keep around yourself, because they may hurt you later on down in the future. I'm out.
Great way to end it. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next one. Peace.